Hello, I am Joe the Science Bro, and we are back at it again here in Minecraft. So, if you have been here for a little while, you will know that I have been playing Minecraft for better part of 2 years. And Minecraft was one of the first games that I actually decided to start streaming. So, we're going to be jumping into SkyFactory 4. Now, SkyFactory 4 is very near and dear to me because it is the mod pack that got me really into Minecraft. It is the mod pack that made it so that I wanted to do Minecraft regularly. So, as I said, we're going to be having some fun with Minecraft today. And yeah, that's where we're kind of going to be today. So, let's get into it. Let's have some fun. As always, please say hi to me in the chat. The chat is currently right there. There. Soon it will be still over there, probably about the same height. And hopefully, I've tried to set up a couple of timers into the chat, so hopefully that'll constantly be updating and you guys will be able to get some updates with that. Basically, type exclamation point commands, and you guys will get to see a couple of commands that you can type into the chat so that you can have some fun. If you just want to sit there and just chill, you don't want to really interact, just let me know. Type exclamation point lurker, Lurker, and you will be able to just let me know that you're here and I can say hi to you. And yeah, thank you guys so much, and let's get into it. Okay. This one. Yep. Okay. What a lovely space. All right. Okay, so I've got this going. All right, so big thing right now is to get this guy moving. All righty. Now, I don't need the water anymore, but I do need to get rid of this. So we're going to be doing this just to make enough water to get rid of this. Okay. I need to make some cobblestone. Gotta repair some stuff. All right, and something that we haven't done in ages on here is we have a question for the stream. So feel free to type in exclamation point QOTD, and that'll give you the question of the day. Like I said, new stuff. New stuff here at Joe the Science Bro Industries. You kill it, we grill it. Leave me alone.
There's no correlation between the two statements.
Shush! Shush you. Oh no, I can't call you a random voice. He said that you exist now. Well, that stinks. Okay, so there's 900. All right, so this is going to work perfectly. Bam! Boop! Sweet! There it is! Yay! All right. Clay sapling. Clay sapling. That's what I thought. Just want to up the volume here on. Alrighty. So finally, I have an apple tree which means I no longer need to worry about roasting any acorns, which is great because, as you can tell, they are not great for food. There we are. Hiya! Hiya! Okay. Alright, I think we can put a hold onto the gravel, the sand. Well, not so much the sand. I do need sand for other things. I think we can put a hold on gravel and clay, actually. So I'm just going to put petrified saplings down. But I do need sand. Sand makes glass. Glass is important. Very important, actually, in Sky Factory. Glass is kind of a limiting factor towards the end at a certain point. Basically, right now we are trying to get iron. And in order to do that, I need coal. And if I'm not mistaken, I think I gotta put like a dirt sapling into here. Just gonna attempt that and see what happens. Nope. Alright, then we will try a sand sapling. Nope. Petrified? Nope. Then it must be an oak sapling. Huh. Alright. Go fish. Coal. Sapling. Birch! Which is a sand sapling into water. Wow. Okay, we're gonna put the gravel away. We will make clay, sand blocks, gravel, dirt. Yep. And cobblestone. Nope, can't make any more cobblestone. Okay. Alright, well, it's time to move this stuff away. Anyway. No, come here, you. Alright. I need to make another clay pot. I definitely need to up my petrified sap. Oh, yeah, well, I did. Bonsai pots are your friend in this game. Bonsai pots are pretty much where you're going to be for the majority of mid-game. So, this is a thing called the JEI. Just enough items. And it's basically so that you can put a bunch of... What are you doing there? Basically so that you can put in a bunch of quick find recipes in there. Just checking on something here. All right. You know, it just wouldn't be a Joe the Science Bro stream unless something went wrong. Or not according to plan. Nothing goes according to Keikaku. Grim's probably sitting there laughing. No? No laughing? eventually I'm going to get hopping bonsais, which are going to make my life so much easier. And you will see why once that happens. Alright, so Petrified Sapling, I'm just going to knock this guy out. I don't really need the clay right now, although I will much later. Oh, well, it would help if I put all of my petrified resin and whatnot. So here we go. Clay resin out. Clay out. Clay sapling. Don't need the dirt. Don't need the leaves right now. The beauty about leaves is that they can burn. Which means you can get some energy out of them. Once you build the right stuff. Alright, right now... Yes! Get out of here. I need you planted. I'm going to plant you right there. Right now, what I have is a handheld crafting table, which basically makes it so that I don't have to go running back to my crafting table every 5 seconds. It gets very valuable late game because you start needing to do other things. You know, I made this and... Oh, yeah, gotta fire that thing. Oop. I just realized I could have put that thing in a hopper and it would have done so much better, but you know what? I've made my bed, now I must lie in it. Hold on a minute. Okay, whew. Phew. See, the worst part is technically Nightbot is supposed to be setting some stuff up over there on the side. You know, things like that. Apparently Nightbot is not doing its job, which kind of sucks. So, you know, I apologize. Nightbot's not doing its thing. It should be doing its thing. Oh, I see. Well, apparently I'm an idiot. So we all kind of know that by this point. I forget how to do third person. Nope, that didn't do it. Hold on. Oh god. There we are. What is it? It's F5. There we are. So, just so that you have an idea of what we're doing, this is what's happening. By constantly flipping... I know, it's so stupid from... There we are. Much better. By doing this... Ugh. Oh god, oh god, this isn't good. No, 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 no. This isn't what I want. No, 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 no. Okay, apparently I am trapped. Oh! That was awful. So, basically, what you're doing is you're... Really? You're basically twerking. Which I know is really stupid, but that's what the game decides to basically call it. So you're basically twerking, and that gives you the energy coming out of your butt to basically make things grow faster. These sparkles that are coming out of my rear end, those are things that are making everything run faster. Apples are so good for food. Apples are the best food in Sky Factory because they require the least amount of energy to actually work with. You don't have to do much for it. Once you get the apple tree, you just gotta let the tree grow. Oh yeah, I think I can make the iron amber now. So iron amber is necessary because if you want to do anything... Ooh. Oh. Poo-poo on you. I think I set it up in the beginning anyway. Ah, yes. Don't need the coal piece right now. Don't need this. Don't need this. Don't need the gravel. Do I need the gravel? No, don't need the gravel. This I'm going to need gravel, sand, clay. Coal, sand, clay. Iron, amber. Oop. Okay. I know. This is where things kind of get painful. I need more cobblestone. Good. This is gonna hurt. If you are unsure as to what I am currently working on, Minecraft logic is all you need to know. Oh, Minecraft logic. Oh, that's right. Crap. It took me forever to learn half of the stuff that I am currently doing at, like, speed now. Rem is also playing Sky Factory, although she is playing in her own little world. So about normal. Oh, how lovely. Well, this is actually a good thing. I am not dead, which I do not understand why I am not dead, but, you know, here we are. You may be wondering why I put something on top of that. That is because when it rains, the cauldrons like to fill up with water. Okay. Now I just need iron sapling. which is acacia. And for acacia, I need an apple sapling and water, which I already have an apple sapling. No. The rules of this are so arbitrary, it's not even funny. Now, you may be wondering, why didn't I just, build another one and put it in there? Well, shut up. It's my game. I get to decide what happens here. And right now, I say, I do it that way. Oh. Okay, and... Now, the next big thing that we're going to do is we're going to create a Cobblestone Generator Mark 1, which should be easy. I believe it's just stone and... There it is. Oh, that's a tier 2, but, it's just cobblestone, bucket of water, bucket of lava, and glass. Okay. Oh, yeah, that's right. It does do that. I forgot about that. That's what it does. Right. Yeah, we're just going to stick to Petrified right now, just to, make life a little bit easier. Oh, yes. Oop. Iron amber. Nope, don't have enough. Well, that's par for the course. Seven. There we are. Don't question Minecraft logic, you'll hurt your brain, trust me. It's better if you just allow it to happen. Trust me on this, you will feel so much better at the end of the day. Minecraft logic makes no sense. Oop. Oop. Nice chill day, you know? Or at least it should be. Ah. Not bad, not bad. Do we have enough for more? Nope. Basically what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to basically pour a bunch of molten iron into here, which is going to form iron blocks. The iron blocks will give me 9 iron ingots. And from those iron ingots, I will be able to craft a multitude of things, which is absolutely necessary for me to continue in this game. Oh, hello. Another aspect, as you can see, is that I'm able to easily repair without wasting levels currently in this mod. Give me iron ember, yes! $16 ingots. That's great. Okay. Oh! Alright. Chunk. Well, it disappeared. Whatever. Alrighty. You get the resin more from the wood, and because there's not that much wood growing out of here, you don't necessarily get a lot of the resin. It's one of the small drawbacks you get from, you know, switching over to this, but it's just so much more efficient than doing what I'm doing right now, as you can see. Infinite water source. Absolutely necessary. And you can see why I need the excess iron. I need that for food. I haven't received an iron sapling yet, but I will. That's the beauty of it. Actually, is there a recipe for more iron resin? Nope, just bonsai trees. So you have a 35% chance of iron resin, a 50% chance of an iron acorn, 25% chance of iron leaves, 5% chance of iron sapling, and 20% chance of sticks. That changes as you get more things. Is that for... Dirt amber is 100% grow time. But see, it's the growth rate that you want to see. And as you can see, only the mulch really gives you growth rate and drop chance bonuses. So getting mulch is going to be something that we will do once we get to a certain point here. And there is like a whole quest line of advancements that you can do, as you can see here. All of these are open, so you can actually get these at any specific time. The same goes for these. You know, you can do glitch infused armor, you can do enchanting tables. You know, there's alloy tanks, there's storage wars, you can... There's a whole mess of stuff that you can do. And we'll eventually get a Paxel, which, again, makes life very easy. There's just a bunch of stuff around here. And, you know, a lot of this is, like, see, bonsai trees, market. Eventually, we're going to get to a point where we will be using, well, see, as you can see here, there's a bunch of saplings that we haven't done. There's technically 28 saplings, and we will have all of them eventually. We will be growing animals. We will be doing condensed milk. I'm going to be doing, you know, fences. So, and then there's power. Lots and lots of power. Lots and lots of trains. For those of us that remember that. Industrial foregoing froster to make ice, packed ice, and shaved snow. And we'll get into all of this so much later. And of course, there's storage. Storage is always fun. Now, I did get into crates, barrels, drums, and shipping crates. It doesn't really do that much. The barrels do. The barrels are really nice, especially the metal barrels. The metal barrels are great. We will be doing a hopper. We'll do the upper. There's a wooden hopper. I hate life. Anyway, so you're getting the idea. You know, we'll probably do some exploring. This is something that I've never done. Usually, I don't go out exploring. Oh yeah, I forgot Floaty McFloaty. And Bacon Cakin. Eventually we'll go to the end. And we'll take care of that. Anyway. So that's all of that. And eventually what I'm going to do is once I get an iron sapling from here, as you can see, it does take a bit of time. Eventually what you're going to see is these are just going to shoot through. Nope, still none. You know what? What I might do is I might just, I think that's the best usage of this, is to just nix this, kill this, and then just take out this entire side here, and replace it with iron saplings for the time being. Yeah, I'll lose out on some of my stone production, but I'll be able to get a Paxel and whatnot easier, and be able to move a little faster. Iron is the first major thing that you get that moves you a lot faster. And you'll see what I'm saying once I do this. Like, I'll probably get a good 2 or 3. Yep, 12 off of that one sapling. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to expedite some of it by doing this. Gotta eat. Alrighty. Basically, the crook here makes it easier for you to gather saplings. Much easier. And again, don't forget we have a question of the day. If you would like to know the question of the day, you will have to type the command for the question of the day. If you do not know what the command of the question of the day is, you can ask me. But today's question is, what was your first video game? Simple enough question. That's what I was hoping for. All right. All right. Yes, 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 yes! Perfect. 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 Oh, and I'm in swampland. What do you know? You can tell by, over there. It says it right underneath. Come on, come on! Yay! Oh, oh, oh. Okay. All right, we're about to make history here. Flop. Oh. There we go. The Cobblestone Generator Mark 1. Hey! Oh, I need glass. Where'd I put the glass? There it is. Fine. Same to you. Just toss that away then. As you can tell, we are building in a void. Well, you might not have been able to tell, but basically here you go. Building in a void. Complete and utter void. You basically start at the top of a tree. Oop. Yay! All right, and this will actually produce cobblestone without me trying. Ta-da! And we will eventually get a second one, and we'll have more going on. But I do not need this anymore. Do I have enough to make a hopper? No, I need more iron. Okay. And basically, this is just the easiest way in the world to repair anything. Let's make some iron amber. Okay, I can chuck all of the petrified stuff for now. All the dirt. Because we have way more than enough coming through. As you can see now, I've got... And eventually, we're going to actually be able to rig up something that will take from this and put it directly into a lava generator. Or a geothermal generator, I should say. And will literally generate a crap ton of energy. But we need to get a much faster and much higher rate of lava production for that. I hate it when that happens. Okay. All right, and there's our hopper. We make a hopping bonsai. And now we're going to throw an iron sapling in there. And now it's going to constantly pump out every... Pardon me. Hey, Wayne, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Now, oh, you're doing a game night. Cool, dude. What game is that? Is that the Minion? Oh, Lords of Waterdeep. Interesting. Hey, Rem. Wayne dropped stuff in the Discord.
Oh, cool.
Nice. As always, Wayne, nice job. And if you, watching this right now, wish to join the Discord, all you have to do is type in !Discord. I won by a landslide and the wife is not happy. Well, let me tell you a story about my experiences with Monopoly. Rem likes to kick my butt in Monopoly. And
Hey, I orchestrated a full mutiny last time.
yes, you did. I don't know how you do it.
I convinced you both to be on my side.
Yes, you did. I will admit that you did. What do I need? I need wood. And I need clay. Lots of clay. Because we are going to make a ton of stuff here. My wife is the Queen of Splendor. Well, I would hope so. And Japor. I have no idea what Japor is. Stole my phone to write that. Well, hello, Wayne's wife. I am Joe the Science Bro. It is a pleasure to meet you. And now it is time to make as many chests as humanly possible. She is not happy that she lost. Well, I can't exactly blame her now, can I? Look, I'm going to tell you this right now. So that I may keep my life, I am siding with your wife. Sorry. There you go. The thing works. Haha! I am quite happy with myself. It works. All right. Okay. More hoppers. More hoppers are necessary. But first things first. Haha! Automation. Well, somewhat. So, Wayne, just an FYI, you're going to see a lot of those popping up now that you've typed something. It is not your fault. It is because I am trying to make it so that people who are brand new know that we have different commands, different things that you can find in the stream. Here is a question for you, Wayne. Actually, here's something that you can do right now, Wayne. Type exclamation point, capital Q, OTD. Try one more time. OTD. Oh, okay, so it does work lowercase. Nice. It's nice to know. And that is your question for the stream here, Wayne. What was the very first video game you ever played? Mario Kart on SNES. That does bring back a lot of memories for me, I'm not gonna lie. Not bad memories, thankfully, but all good memories. Wow, Mario Kart. Oh, on NES. Even better. I still remember that thing. Actually, I don't know if Rem remembers that. Did you ever play the original Mario Kart on the NES?
Yes.
Oh, all right. Well, I'm sorry. Jeez.
Not that young.
I mean, you're younger than me. There's a lot of games that you're not used to that I am. I have very fond memories of the NES. All right, let's make a butt ton of hoppers. Oh, I don't have enough of those. Let's try this dance again. Only 2? Oh, alright. Still nice. Still doing good. Oop. Ow. Doesn't make sense. Aha! There it is. I forgot I need more dirt. There we go. Right. My first video game, if I'm not mistaken, was Doom. Without my father's knowledge, actually. Don't tell him I said that. Alright, so we need hardened stone, which means we need that, which means cobblestone, sand, iron ingot, and clay. I believe we have all of that, actually, don't we? Oop, made it all. That's an apple sapling. Don't need that. We'll need that, we'll need that. Cobblestone. There you go. It popped up on its own. What do you know? Then I will need a single bucket of lava. Lava. Minecraft logic. I mean, it kind of makes sense when you think about it. Why Minecraft? Minecraft is just a chill kind of thing for me. This is a modded thing. You just saw the question of the day, man. So Minecraft is just a very simple, easy game to play that is just easy on my brain. Makes my life simple, makes my life easy. And this is very important. Because this will eventually give me something that I need. But I don't have it yet. But I will have it soon. Soon. Don't need you. Still need you. Don't need you. I thought it did make more. Well, there you go. Oh, yeah. It's because they've been used. Forgot about that. They get weird. Minecraft also gives me the time to, like, just sit here and wax philosophical for a little while. Alright, so we need to start working on a combustion generator? Yeah, furnace, stone, iron. We need redstone. Okay. So redstone sapling is... Okay, I'm gonna have to start making dirt. Well, grass. Right, mud. Ever played Minecraft, Wayne? Duck Hunt, or I seem like big Commodore 64. That came on tapes. Yes! Commodore 64. Whew. I knew some people who had Power PC, which kind of tells you how old I am. So Minecraft is kind of interesting because yeah. Minecraft is interesting for me because I was in the same boat as you. This isn't my thing. Why should I get into it? Blah, blah, blah. Yada, yada, yada. Well, the pandemic hit and I lost my job. So, I needed something to do, something that I could apply my brain to. And a buddy of mine was like, hey, there's this game in Minecraft that we can play. It's not base Minecraft, but it's going to require a lot of, like, ingenuity and scientist thinking. I was like, okay, let's do it. Why not? And it turns out that all the mods for Minecraft are absolutely free, which makes life so nice. There's a widget that you can use that's called CurseForge, and they host the majority of the releases of Minecraft mods. The original games that I have are somewhere. My wife will not play another game with me. Well, here's the big question. Are you a sore winner, Wayne? Because if you are, I can understand your wife's position. Nobody likes a sore winner. She doesn't like that particular game. Does it give you an unfair advantage to play it? Yeah. No, I get that. The early portion of this mod, I will admit, is rather boring. But once you get to a certain point, you just start going nuts with it. I barely win at Jaipur. Again, I don't know what Jaipur is, but I'm assuming that it is something that she can easily beat you at. and does so with great enjoyment. Now, come on. Everybody's got to be able to have their fun. I will need petrified at a certain point, so I better keep that one going. And I'm going to need clay and sand. So, we'll put petrified here. Clay and sand there. Oh yeah, that's right. I need dirt, don't I? So clay pops out and dirt comes in. By the way, Wayne, if the automated messages get annoying, just let me know and I'll turn them off. But if you didn't know that there were a bunch of chat commands, you are more than welcome to type that commands thing. Feel free. Feel free. Now, in here, what do I feel like? I'm not doing something right. Yeah, there you go. Now tell me if that works, because it works for me, but I'm never sure if it works right. It should take you to a list of custom commands. I should double check this, shouldn't I? It does! Yay! And that's a bunch of commands that you can actually type in at any point in the chat, Wayne. So if you're ever wondering what's going on, you can type in the thing for that. If you want, I mean, I know it's not your first time, but you could always type in first time, and I will treat you like it is your first time. Oh, come on! Look, it's either G Fuel or coffee, and coffee is kind of nicer on my stomach, I'm not gonna lie. Not right now. But thank you. I appreciate your concern for me. So, unfortunately, at this time, I do not have chat points, and that is because in order to have chat points, you have to be a Twitch affiliate, which means if you see the goal underneath my head right now, that is the thing that we need to fill up in order to do that. That's not me, that is Twitch. They won't let me enable that on the Twitch side, at least. I am looking for some kind of loyalty points, but, you know, there will be things like text-to-speech and things like that, specifically for guys like you. You know? I want to reward people like yourself for being here this entire time, because, quite honestly, it does mean a lot to me that you know, you spend time here. I do need a hydrate button, you are absolutely right. Now, don't shake your head. Don't nod your head, yes, Rem. You are even worse than me when it comes to that. When was the last time you took a drink of water, Rem?
When I took my medication.
Yeah, you need to drink more water. Oh, I do need to drink booze. Booze button. You are absolutely right. Actually, I will be right back. You do need to drink water. So, while Rem and I were... I ran a Rem shouting button. Actually, I do plan on recording sound effects of Rem so that you guys can blast them at me. I do plan on recording sound effects of her. Like her going high. Go ahead, do it. No. Do it so that...
I'm not feeling it right.
Uh-huh. Well, anyway, this is from a distillery that we have here in the United States that Rem and I got to go to the year before we got married, which was 2018.
2017.
That's what I mean. The year we got married was 2018. So we got to go to this place in 2017, and at that point they were still a fledgling distillery, and you know, we got to see them this week, excuse me, and they decided to do a peachwood whiskey, single malt. Whew, I love it. That's hilarious. Rem, it's batch BBC. Hey. Yes. Yes, there needs to be more drinking, whether it be water or alcohol on this stream. Don't you agree, Rem? Thank you. How nice of you. But yes, there also needs to be a Rem yelling button. Don't you nod your head yes? I will say, Twitch is very specific about how much alcohol I am able to have. I know that sounds really silly, but Twitch is kind of weird in regards to how much alcohol I'm allowed to drink on stream. It's not like they limit me to a certain specific number of drinks or anything, but I can't be like pass out drunk on stream. Which, I mean, makes complete sense. Yeah, I can't be wasted on screen. They'll basically ban me for like a couple of days. But you know, I have had, Rem will tell you, I've had big ideas for the stream since I started. So I've been like trying to get everything going. I'm still unemployed. I've not been drinking for a bit, as food is more important. You, sir, are a smart man. You are respectful. I respect you. I respect you for that. Don't ever be ashamed of putting food and family before drink. Ever. Ever. I will not have it on this stream. Oof. Somebody just walked over my grave. Yep, new job will fix that. What is your favorite drink of choice, Wayne? My man. That makes me very happy. Guinness is lovely. There is a restaurant near Rem and I in Philadelphia that is called Fado. Fado. And they are, all of their bartenders are what, well, you would know this as a Guinness fan. They are perfect pour certified. I love it. I love it. They are very particular about their Guinness kegs. Oh, yeah. No, getting a perfect pour of Guinness is a very underrated thing. Oh, did I already burn through that? Eating licorice double salted. You know what? I will honestly say that I have never tried that, so I can't comment on it. But I do not fault you for it. Uh-oh. I thought so. Get away from my stuff. No! Once lived in Northern Ireland, so where that's where your taste for licorice comes from. Hey, no problems here, man. I am all for that. And Guinness. Yep. Guinness is a very important thing. We had a nor'easter. We had a nor'easter come in the storm. And I told my father that technically a bottle of Guinness is equivalent to 1 loaf of bread in terms of calories. He then said to me, go out, and he handed me, I think it was like $60. He handed me $60 and he said, go out and get us more Guinness. I was such a happy man. I was a very happy man. All right, so... yeah, redstone. Right. And then I will need bone meal. Let's see. I am not happy that you exist in my perfect little world, so come and get it. Eat it. I once worked in an old lady's house. She must have been in her 90s, and she drank a Guinness a day to keep her iron up. You know what? More power to her. I salute her. Ooh, ender pearl. Haha, I got an ender pearl, Rem. You don't.
Good job.
Oh. Still going strong. I believe it. Alright, so we need bone meal. Alright, so I need a bone sapling. In order to get a bone sapling, I'm going to need bone meal. In order to get bone meal, I need gravel into a cauldron of water, which means I need gravel. What do you know? I have 6 gravel, which is not going to be enough. It is more than enough. I could have filled both of them. Yeah, so my dad was a fan of bourbon for years. And his big thing was that if I wanted to try bourbon, I had to do it with him present, and I wasn't allowed to drink it without him present when I was a kid, because you might know this, in the United States we have laws that prevent younger people from being able to imbibe alcohol in public. There we go. And now I can make more dirt. Jet. Rem, do not disturb the dirt. I thought there was one in between here and between here. There, better. Rem is playing in her own world. She's not playing in here at the moment. This is currently my hole. Oh, how did your search for Barbarella go? Did you ever find it for cheaper? Or I should say at a more reasonable price? I can't blame you for going to bed. There is nothing wrong with that statement, sir. Oh, I got yellow. Yeah, that's what I need, is the magic beans. And for that, I need cactus. Cactus, I need that thing. Okay. That game last night, I really did enjoy. I thought that it had elements that a lot of games don't have today, which kind of upset me when you think about it, because why shouldn't games be more, you know, be more accessible to people to begin with? One of my biggest problems with AAA games right now, especially in what has been released lately, is it seems as though there is more of a reason for the games to be... The release date is more important than the game itself, and for me, that is a problem. That is a huge problem for me. So, seeing a game that was in the condition that that game was, which in my mind was very good for game condition, I was disappointed to see that that games that cost 3 times its amount couldn't do the same exact thing. So I was very happy with that game. I was very satisfied with it. Oh yeah, Wayne, you haven't tried to stump me in something scientific in a while now. You got anything you want to try and hit me with, so to speak? Yeah, I don't need that. Toaster. Let's see. I'm gonna need a cotton. There we are. Cottonwood sapling, and for that I'm going to need a jungle sapling. Alright. Clay into mud. So these are all the different saplings that I can grow. Wherever I have coal, I have iron. Gold sapling? Okay, so that's just gold, amber. Is the James Webb going to look at our closest star in detail? I do believe that they are planning to do that, but I know that they're constantly releasing new images. And I think that they wanted to do the new images regularly to make it so that people could keep up with what's going on a little bit more. I know that one of the things that they absolutely wanted to do this time around with the telescope was they didn't want it to feel like people were being kept out from it, if that makes sense. Petrified and iron, so I didn't need the coal. I needed the coal sapling. Sapling. And I need petrified resin and iron resin. I have very high hopes for the James Webb Telescope. I think it's going to be a wonderful, wonderful addition to science as a whole and scientific discovery as a whole. But at the moment, I am going to go and use the restroom. I will be right back. I'm sorry. Uh, Next FPSs. Are you a bot? Thank you, my dear. I will warn you, next FPSs, um, if you are a bot, I will ban you. I have no tolerance for that, and I do not wish to waste the time of those people who are following me to be, spammed by you if you are a bot. But if you are not, welcome to the stream. I do appreciate it. I do not need to buy followers, primes, or viewers. Thank you. By the way, Wayne, Slancha. God damn, that's good. Whew. All right. So, what are we working on? We just got redstone. Lapis should be next. I just need glass for that, and I need a dark oak sapling, which is going to be coal into water. I have coal saplings yet. That's not coal, that's petrified. I do not have a coal sapling yet, but I will. Aha! Dark wood. Now I need glass. I need 3 glass, which is going to be you into here. Oh, I already got a bunch. Still with me, Wayne? Ram, I think a bot made it onto the stream.
Gross.
Yeah, I know, exactly. Okay. Alright, lapis. I need clay and bone resin. Bone! Ugh. This does become one of the difficulties of the early game, is just storage of crap. Clay. Did I put clay out yet? I have not. How weird of me. Clay sapling, clay sapling. There it is. The time crystals that were discovered? I didn't know that we discovered time crystals. You fooling me? You trying to get my goat here? If you give me 2 seconds once I finish. Yes, there we are. I'm just gonna put this guy right there. All right. Now let's see. Who said time crystals were discovered? Scientists have created the first time crystal two-body system in an experiment that seems to bend the laws of physics. It comes after the same team witnessed the interaction of the new phase of matter. Interesting. Casper! Hey, buddy, how you doing, man? It's good to see you. Ah. Ooh, that is true. I will need to... Oh yes, lettuce seeds. Um... Interesting. A new metal that was discovered under very high pressure. A team of physicists from the United States and China have detected the unexpected signatures of strange metallicity in a material in which electrical charge is carried but not electrons, but by more wave-like entities called copper pairs. Interesting. Interesting. Oh, of course, it's out of brown. Oh, I see what they're talking about. Yeah, this is going to be interesting to see exactly what they hope for. Yeah, it was made... Yeah, so a lot of times what happens with these kinds of metals, yeah, a new metallic material is found. So basically the diamonds, the thing about diamonds is that the structure of diamonds kind of makes it so that it's very good as a stability item. So you tend to see things that kind of make things a little bit... How can I put this? I need lead. For that I need molten lead. Sand, petrified, iron, and water. Or lapis lazuli, which is what it's going to be. So it's not necessarily a new element. The way that they get those elements, especially the ones... Yeah, so that means that it's probably a very specific state of a metal. So if you've ever seen on the periodic table how there are a bunch of those metals that just have like a ton of U's in them towards the bottom of the periodic table proper, not the period at the bottom of it. I'm going to bring up a picture because pictures help everyone. Okay, so right here, these guys. These have actually been named, thankfully. When I was in school, they weren't named yet, and you saw things like UU, UGU, UUG, things like that. So let's see, we might find one that has it still. Yep. Yeah, here you go. So if you see here, these right here, these have now been named. Yes. So, Casper, you are right, but what they found was that that was just a different state of a diamond rather than a new material. So the issues that we're having right now, and when I say we, I'm referring to science as a whole, is that we're making these discoveries of items like these down here. Argentium, Copperinium, or Copernicum, Flavarium, Livermorium, Tennessinium, Tumorogenesis. A lot of these are their unknown properties. So basically what that means is that they are so transient in nature that we can't really do any studies off of them. So the way that they create these is they'll bombard something like lead or something that they know to be extremely stable with a bunch of neutrons and protons to increase the nuclear size, because you don't need to bombard something with electrons. That just makes it unstable. That creates more instability. But if you bombard something with neutrons are, yeah, that's not a problem. So protons, electrons, and neutrons are different charged particles inside of atoms. Protons are positive elements, neutrons are neutrally charged, or they have no charge, and electrons are negatively charged. Because we consider electricity in terms of flowing from negative to positive, that's why electrons are called electrons. So, wow, this is really heavy topics for a Friday. Give me a second. So, what they do with these larger items, so you'll see 111, 112, 113, 114, that is more on the amount of protons, or you could say the amount of neutrons specifically. So hydrogen has a single neutron, but it also has a single proton. Technically, it's just a proton floating around. Helium has 2 protons, lithium 3, so on and so forth. When you get up to lead, you start seeing extreme instabilities showing up. Bismuth is not very unstable. It's just it has a lot of fragility to it. Sure, go ahead, Casper. Can I explain the Boston Higgs the way I know it is all around background? What do you mean when I'm finished? So, Wayne, to answer your question real quick, you're getting into levels of physics that I don't get into, and levels of chemistry that I've never gotten into. Right around protons and neutrons, that's where I stopped. I do know that we've split protons before, and that's where you get into things like quarks. But I've never gotten that far. But anyway, when you get to those higher levels of protons, the materials become extremely unstable, and they tend to just want to shoot off their electrons as much as possible, which is one of the reasons why we have the ability of nuclear power. We're taking a specific type of things. May not have been the best night to drink as we hammer you with questions of how the world works. No, quite the opposite. Alcohol helps these questions. Alcohol makes these questions easier, believe it or not. All right, iron, resin, lead. Lead is what I need right now. Lead, amber is petrified, iron, and sand. I have petrified and dirt, but I do not have iron and sand. Question is quartz the battery of the future? I heard that quartz can be electrically charged to an extreme degree, but that we, at the moment, don't know how to contain the charge in quartz. So do you think the future battery packs and electricity storages will be made of quartz? I think quartz is going to be I think quartz is probably going to be a potential storage for the future, but I do not think it is going to be the cure-all, end-all. One thing that I have learned in my scientific career is that we as a scientific community, we need to remember that if we put ourselves 100% behind something, generally we're going to cause ourselves a lot of problems. So one of the easiest things to look at is several years ago, everything in science was based around stem cells, or what is commonly referred to as induced pluripotent stem cells, or induced pluripotent cells. And what that basically means is that these are cells that are able to become pretty much any type of cell in your body. Well, one of the problems that we found with embryonic versions of this is that if we try to implant embryonic versions into a human being, we tend to notice some problems. The biggest of which is that we haven't learned how to turn it off. So we tend to get issues of cancer developing. It's what you would call tumorogenesis. And that causes all kinds of problems for people. Of course, because you wouldn't want to, you wouldn't want to die. Simple as that. So in terms of your question about quartz, I would like to see what they can do first, and then I want to make my opinion from there. Yes, of course. You can ask me anything. Lead. Amber. I am missing the iron wizard. Okay. Now, lead saplings require the dark oak, which I think I already have. Is there such a thing as a stem cell incompatibility that can ruin the stem cells in a person's body when others are added? So the nature of stem cells is that they are able to take on any state of a cell from that point on. So, it is entirely possible that you could have the situation that you are describing, especially since, we're talking about tissue or cells from one person into another person, but it's never been displayed like that. The larger problem that we've seen is that the stem cell or the induced pluripotent cells just don't stop growing. They don't have the necessary communication for slowing down or stopping of specific tissue growth, if you will. Oh, that's nice. Jungle sap. I need dark oak. I hope that answers the question. I thought I had dark oak. Guess not. Right, stem cells. Sure, take your time, man. It has not been displayed as of yet that it does so. So you could describe it as that, but not really. Stem cells need to be induced into becoming. So a stem cell is a steady state point until you turn on a particular gene set that makes it become a particular type of tissue cell. So in other words, a single stem cell has the potential to become a liver cell, a cardiac cell, a liver cell, a cardiac cell, brain cell, a nasal epithelium cell, a mucosal cell, a colorectal cell. You know, there's a bunch of areas that stem cell could become, but it's basically a steady state point for it. Well, you know, I gotta keep you on your toes here, Casper. Well, thank you. I'm glad that you find it very interesting. That makes me very happy. So one of the biggest things that you have to understand with stem cells is that they don't move. They're kind of like held with a pause button on them throughout the entire process. So you can't just brick. Rem, go brick. So a stem cell can't just spontaneously become something. It has to kind of start out as something, basically. I know that that's not exactly the best of ways to describe it, but such is life, unfortunately. Damn. Well, I thought I could get away with it. Would it be theoretically possible to control the stimulation from stem cells to begin creating mutations in the human body, like enlarging bones? That's not necessarily mutations. You would have to stimulate osteocytes and osteoclasts and osteoblasts. There's 3 types of cells that induce generation of bone, but you would want that to be very, very, very well controlled, because if you just had random bone formation, there is actually a disease, I believe. I think Rem knows this one because I think this is one of those ones that you like, Rem. Isn't there a genetic disorder where your body just randomly starts developing bone formations?
Like your body overcompensates?
Sort of. I mean, that's kind of an oversimplification of what I'm talking about, but yes.
I guess.
Yeah, that's a very tough question. You would want that to be very controlled, so I wouldn't necessarily want that to be answered, per se. I would want someone to have to kind of... one of the things that scientists tend to ask each other a lot is we tend to say, you know, is this something that we should be doing? And that's not something that we should be doing. Unfortunately, the process that we have currently for obtaining new growth of bones, if you will, is just fine. And I know that it's a horrible way to do it, but it's kind of the best way to do it. As much as it is extremely painful for the person involved and is not a pleasant experience at all. If you know what I'm talking about, is a process of breaking and stretching the bones. No, Casper, that's fine. I have no problem with people thinking. I want you to think. But I'll give you the same advice that was given to me once. I caution you, always temper your thoughts with a sense of, would you want that done to you? So, one of my professors used to temper a lot of our thought processes by simply saying, would you like this done to you? Absolutely, you can. Yeah, no, I want you to be curious. I like some of my colleagues want people to be curious. It is much easier for us to work with people and to talk to people that are curious rather than people who are not. So curiosity is great. I love curiosity. Give it to me any day of the week. I will take it. Let's see. Dirt resin. What did I need over here? I needed... Oh, I need more iron. So one of the hardest parts that I have to deal with in my line of work is that there are a lot of people out there who do not think that people like me deserve the ability to control what we study. And any scientist that you speak to will basically say we absolutely need control over what we need to study. And this is a long story that results in a very specific point. If you do not know what it is that I am studying, you're going to think that I am doing something wrong. Not specifically saying you. I never temper my thoughts, as I would not ever make anyone, not even myself, go through something so cruel, not even for science, but I would like the theoretical. No, that's a good point. And that's why, pardon me, having a scientific mentor was so important to me, because I wanted to know if my thoughts were wrong. I wanted to know if I was thinking of some things that I shouldn't be thinking. But it turned out that I wasn't. You know, it's very difficult to think of things in a way that would result in someone's harm. You'd be very surprised. The way that you would end up causing harm to someone is by basically, you know, planning on harm. You knowingly are planning to harm them. And I doubt that that's what you're looking to do. I have a feeling that what you're looking to do is you are looking to help people. And that's what, you know, you would want. That is a good thing. You want to have those theoretical questions. You want to have those theoretical answers. So never have a problem with that. All right, so gold. Sapling, gold. Amber, which is right here. For that, I need the dandelion yellow and the lead resin, sand, and iron. I need one more iron resin. Good on the sand, and now I just need the lead resin. It should be ready to go by now. It is. Good. Now I need the dandelion yellow. I don't think thoughts can be wrong. I think thoughts can be harming or damaging, but banishing the thought is basically impossible. That is true. And no, I'm not talking about a thought can be harming or damaging. Thoughts are not neutral in that regard. Thoughts are... Wow, now we're really getting into the weeds here. Oof. Pardon me, I need another finger of whiskey here. Oof. Driving me to drink. Within reason, Twitch overlords. Within reason. Within reason. Remember, kids, do not drink unless you are 21 years of age in the United States. I do not know what the legal drinking age is outside of the United States. I will rely on Casper and Wayne for that kind of information, as they do not live in the United States. Anyway, so one of the biggest things that we need to think in terms of how we view thoughts, because if you see thoughts as wrong, even thinking a thought is bad, making it impossible to think. So what makes the thought wrong or right is a particular mindset or ethics. Ethics is a wonderful thing to have, and ethics should always be had. So I would fully recommend that you always try and frame your thoughts in a form of you're kind of going to be doing mental gymnastics in order to do this, but you should always think of your thoughts in terms of, is this something that will harm another person? If yes, then no. And I know that sounds really weird and really silly, but trust me, it is not as silly or as stupid as you may think it is. So, a thought that may harm a person. Hey, you. No. Crook. So, a thought that may harm a person is directly making sure that that person's rights are infringed upon. I doubt you're going to do that, so we can already knock that part out. We can already say that that's not anything that we really need to worry about, so we're already good there. But what is necessary to understand, still then, a thought could not always be wrong if it harms someone, as the thought of creating a gun is, yes, for harm, but also for your own protection. That is true, but again, that's where the morality comes into effect, as well as the ethical thought. Remember that the oldest, no, this is not going to melt my brain, trust me. So the difference between the ethical and the moral man is that the ethical man knows it is wrong to cheat on his wife. The moral man just simply does not do it because it is wrong. Yes, so the thoughts to beat the army are wrong because it causes them harm, because you're automatically thinking about them as a different person or different level of person, if you will. Oof. Jeez, I'm glad I poured more alcohol. So answering Casper's question first. So to do no harm, or to have the desire to do no harm, is the actions of an ethical and moral human being. The desire to want to do harm. Oh, you have me on nothing, man. It's just I gotta formulate the thoughts here. So again, the ethical man knows it is wrong to cheat on his wife. The moral man does not do it simply because it is wrong. Iron Paxel, shovel, iron pickaxe. Okay, so shovel. Give me 1 sec, I'm just finishing this up so that I can have my damn Paxel. Oop, done. Okay, that makes my life so much easier now. You. Nope, still need that. Don't need that. And still need that. I'm gonna put you over here. No, that's good. That is good. That is a good mindset to have. Wanting to do no harm is great. Wanting to be inquisitive is also great. But one thing that we in science learn very early is that any idea that you may have in the wrong hands can be turned for harm. So, like doctors who take an oath to do no harm, we as scientists take an unspoken oath that we are going to actively attempt to make sure that our work, our creations, if you will, are to not be used for harm. So I guarantee you that many physicists have thought up ways of having super weapons, many of them. And they've probably destroyed those thoughts once they were written down. Or they have placed them in such a way that it would be near impossible for someone to get them. Causing harm by inaction is just as bad as if you had actively caused harm. Rem, they are really hitting me with the hard questions tonight, man. Oof. Yes, Casper, feel free to ask. I love how we're going down the scientific, moral, or ethical rabbit hole here. It's amazing. Jeez. Phenomenal! Okay. Cookie, quartz. Alright, can't do that, so I need nether. And the way to get netherrack is just to pour lava on redstone amber. And for that, I will need a space to do so, which... Pop. Pop, pop. Ooh, I am gonna need those. So, I will need sand. I don't need bone meal. I need clay. And I will need gravel. Did I not put one down for gravel? God! What about scientists that created chemical weapons like anthrax and the like? So, yeah, this is one of the questions that I asked when I was a young scientist, because it bothered me. It bothered me that things like this were out there and that we as scientists had basically developed this stuff. The way that it was explained to me is that we as scientists walk a very fine line in the world. No, it's not that they did it for the money. A lot of times these chemical and biological weapons, they come out of necessity of the situation. So they are generally looking for protection. So similarly to the invention of the gun, once the gun was invented, it was an application of several things that were not related to death. The invention of gunpowder was actually for fireworks and for entertainment. It's just, unfortunately, that if I'm not mistaken, I believe fireworks were... gunpowder was an accidental discovery, and I believe that it was driven by not gunpowder, but it was driven by fireworks. Yeah, it was saltpeter. So, that's a particular situation that I think explains what we're dealing with in this conversation. So, black powder was not really invented for destruction. It was invented, to solve other problems. It's just we found the right mixture of chemicals that has a very high exothermic reaction that results in explosive blast. It's just kind of how it is. If someone asks you to perform a painful science project to a person himself, he asks you out of free will to, I don't know, make a... So, it's interesting that you say that, because there are actually very specific rules and regulations that I must operate by in order to actually conduct that kind of research. There is the Conference of Geneva, I believe there's a Conference of Stockholm, and there is an international guideline in the UK as well. Basically, I am not allowed to do research on someone that is knowingly painful. I have to reduce the amount of pain at all possible. Also, by the time that I do this research on that person, if I'm assuming you're saying that they might die due to the pain, or they might die due to the situation that you are referring to. I would say that I would rather move slowly rather than quickly in this regard, because if I move too quickly, there's a higher chance of risk of what is referred to as adverse effects. So when we talk about adverse effects, what the hell happened to my iron amber? When we talk about adverse effects, we're talking about the negative side effects to things. So an adverse effect of a flu vaccine in this regard would be something like getting flu-like symptoms. That is technically considered an adverse effect, or an undesired effect, or an effect that is unwanted. But so Casper, to answer your question, I would actually tell the gentleman or the person that you are referring to that unfortunately, while I am willing to help them, they need to understand that I can only operate, one, in a theoretical sense, because that's the type of science that I do. I do the science that is non-clinical, or the science that is done before it gets to a human being a lot of times. So I don't do the clinical research. I am doing what I like to refer to as theoretical science, which involves a lot more work, because I basically have to take my time. I have to go very, very slow. So this is kind of the downside to science, and as you can see, it does kind of make me a little upset, because it's the major limiting factor to science. And yeah, it can be very dangerous to do scientific research on a human being, which is one of the reasons why I don't like doing it. If I'm going to do research on someone, I am going to make sure that the amount of pain that person can experience is so low, so minuscule. You're sorry for what? What are you sorry about? There's nothing to be sorry for. Why are you sorry? Seriously, what's there to be sorry about? This is a very good question. You know, the thing about the science is that there are a lot of scientists out there that are, we refer to them as having the God complex. They are the people that believe that they are. No. I like this question. This is a good question. You shut up. There are people out there who believe that they are better than everyone else, and it is because of that a lot of scientists get a very bad rap. Yeah, no, this is very important stuff. We're not talking about like world-ending stuff, but it's still very important stuff to learn about. You know, these are good questions, Casper. Never for a single moment think that you came up with a bad question for this. This is a perfect question. I am going to need shears for this. Oop, all right. Okay. Casper, I'm very glad that you asked this question, because believe it or not, this question is actually necessary to ask. Yes, so it's actually, here's a funny thing, it's not just Chinese scientists who did that research. There were a lot of American scientists that did. So part of the reason why in the United States we are not allowed to do, it's not that he was disbarred, the greater scientific community as a whole basically disowned him. He got in a lot of trouble from all of us. The funny thing is he's actually at the university. He's actually at a major university. I'm 17 and I don't know physics, but I am interested in science. I'm glad that you are, and I am very grateful to have the chance to be able to explain these things to you and for you, sir. So you're not actually doing that. I could have put the saplings there. All right, but now I've got all those vines, which is great. So, one of the biggest things that is great in this situation is that you are curious. That's the biggest thing. That curiosity is wonderful. Never feel sorry for that curiosity. If you ever feel sorry for that curiosity, I'm going to find you and, you know, shake you. Because that's not good. But Wayne is absolutely right. We as a scientific community basically blackballed that individual. I'm in my 40s and love science stuff. It's very interesting. I may not understand it all, but that's not the point. Exactly. No, exactly, Wayne. That is absolutely right. That is a very, very wise and insightful statement, and thank you very much for sharing that. But Casper, go ahead, ask your question about cloning. Cloning is dangerous and not cause, oh my, they're going to create an army. No, the reason why it's not cloning that is the issue. It is dangerous because of that, yes, but it's more so, no one wants to get into the metaphysical argument of, does a clone have the same rights as a gestated human being or a human being born through coupling, mating process, if you will. That is a topic that many scientists are still, to this day, trying not to get involved in. Many of us just want to be left alone when it comes to that question. I cannot even begin to tell you how many times I have gotten a question about cloning in my career. It is not fun. It is very sad. Go ahead. There is actually a very good, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but there is a very good Arnold Schwarzenegger. Cobble. Oh. There is a very good Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, and I can't believe I just said that, that asks and deals with these questions, believe it or not. I believe it's called The Sixth Day. And it deals with a lot of the questions involved in what you are asking, specifically about cloning and purpose and everything like that. And what you end up finding out is that clones are considered not people. They are not allowed to own property, and they are not allowed to hold public office. They are not allowed to be CEOs. They are just allowed to basically exist. So there lies the question. What would a clone be allowed? Because, you know, they're not technically what we would consider a true mammal in that regard. They are a completely different state. One of my favorite TV shows when I was younger was the Open University shows that was on late night in England. Open University shows. Oh, is that when they would like show lectures from the different universities? Yeah. So that's that was one of the things that researchers like Carl Sagan and Bill Nye were attempting to do. They were trying to bring what is currently being discussed in the academic level to the greater populace as a whole. And Carl Sagan did a great job of it, and Bill Nye did an even better job. No offense to Carl Sagan, but he would get very deep into the weeds in topics that I didn't think that we need to. Yeah. It's funny the different things that you will learn in an academic setting. I learned a magic trick of bouncing a ball because I was learning Einstein's theory of relativity. Which is not technically Einstein's theory of relativity, it's Einstein's theory of relative gravity. Which there's a little piece of trivia for you. Did you know that one, Rem? That it's not technically Einstein's theory of gravity, or excuse me, relativity. It's Einstein's theory of relative gravity. Yes. Yep. Well, yes, that is a part of it. Clones themselves are dangerous. We as creatures, these creatures are most born with a purpose. But if you create the same thing over and over again, it will not know its purpose anymore, and it will seek a purpose, and that will mostly go with violence because people need a purpose to feel like a person, and we as child are seeking our purpose. But if you look at people who lost their memory, they will need to find a purpose, or they will violently seek one. Yes, so that is a part of it. But so when I do research on animals, and currently I am working on one mouse model, which happens to be a mouse model that is inbred. So in a way, it's kind of a weird form of cloning. You can consider it the natural form of cloning, if you will. To give you an example, a inbred mouse is technically not genetically diverse from its parents, which means that it is relatively, you could make the case that it is equal in genetic diversity to its parents. Now, what does that actually mean? That means that you are basically the result of what it is that you are, which is a genetic coupling of a intergenerational mating, which is not good. It's the reason why we have hemophilia. It's also the reason for things like the Habsburg chin. Right, Rem? The Habsburg chin. Also, it's the reason for clubfoot. So, there's another movie that is really good at some of these questions. If you ever get the chance to see the movie Timeline, believe it or not, it's one of Gerard Butler's early films before he became a major star, and well, at least a major movie star in the United States. And one of the things that it talks about is, in that movie, the way time travel works. Muscle growth and bone growth. Yeah. So one of the ways that we stimulate bone growth is we do a process. You might have heard it called bone lengthening, because that's actually what it is. It is a particularly extremely painful process where we take these metal pins and we put them through your bone in two separate areas, and then we break the bone. And once we break the bone, what we do is we let it sit there, and you kind of put you in a cast so that once the bone regrows, you have some extra length. Now, I'm not sure what the prognosis is on those, and the prognosis is just a term for the amount of time that it's basically what's the outcome, the general outcome. If a person needs muscle growth, it will generally come down to human growth hormone, HGH, in a controlled substance form. That's the easiest way to handle that situation. We currently are, I believe ketamine is coming back as a treatment form right now. I think it's ketamine. So, there are certain treatments that we do, like right now, we still do electroshock therapy. Actually, it's been found that in certain cases of schizophrenia, electroshock therapy is actually very beneficial to them. So, certain therapies are making a comeback, although electroshock therapy and thermal shock therapy are horrid when done on a person who does not need them. For reference, see how ketamine can be used as a painkiller drug. Yes. Technically, epinephrine is a controlled substance as well. Epinephrine is synthetic adrenaline. It's a synthetically made hormone that gives your body symptoms similar to adrenaline. These are very interesting questions, guys. I was not expecting this. This is great. I love this. But what but I want the theoretical picture. If you let loose an extreme amount of bone-growing stimulant. Ooh. Ah. Okay, so if you were to stimulate a particular hormone, and see, here's another thing. We actually don't know much about hormones, and I know that that's a weird thing to say, but everything we know about hormones is... I know, I'm getting deep now. We're going to take the break from the game to talk about this. So, the thing about hormones is, and this is the weird part that a lot of people don't realize, we don't actually know that much about hormones. If you talk to any doctor, we know one aspect of a lot of, well, we can do simulations, but not in terms of long-term effects. They're more like possible predictions. I wouldn't necessarily call them a simulation, because a simulation refers to it basically as whatever you see in there is the highest possible likelihood of what is going to happen. And that's not generally what a simulation is. So, well, instead of a simulation, let's call that a computer assisted prediction, rather. So, in terms of what you just said, so let's say we isolate bone growth hormone and it has no other secondary effects whatsoever. That particular situation that you are describing most likely will result in odd bone growths at odd angles. So what do I mean by that? Well, let's take your forearm, for example. If you flood the body with that much, again, theoretically saying bone growth hormone, that all it does is bone growth, you would have bone formations at odd angles in odd formations in every single direction. When we think of bone growth, so let's think of bone growth in terms of puberty, where your bones are actively growing so that you will lengthen your bones and thus become taller, longer, bigger, your full adult size. Part of what goes into that is a directional aspect that we don't really know much about. We know the process of growth and expansion of those cells, but we do not know them in terms of, how can I put this in a easy to understand way? We know the mechanism of bones dividing and creating new bone, but we do not know actually how it works in terms of a three-dimensional structure. So I just started getting into this at work. We're working on the theoretical aspects of three-dimensional tissue culture, which is basically taking two-dimensional tissue culture, which is what we do right now in the lab, which is we grow cells on a two-dimensional plane, basically just on a flat surface. Three-dimensional tissue culture is we take a orb or a half orb or half sphere, if you will, where we call that a spheroid, and we seed it with cells, which that spheroid is just basically a matrix. Think of it like a gel almost, that all it's there for is just to provide structure. If you do that multiple times, you can predict. After a very large amount of predictions, you can select the most outcome. Yes, so that is true, Casper, but as long as you already know the potentiality of the result. No, you are making sense. You're starting to get into aspects of computer science now. You're not getting necessarily into aspects of biological science. You're in luck because I actually do know what I'm talking about in this regard. Let me see. Do I have whiteboard on here? No, I don't. Okay. The Boston Higgs. Again, you're getting into something that I really don't know that much about. Boston Higgs. Are you referring to the Higgs boson? Ah, yeah. So the Higgs boson is or the Higgs particle or a Higgs field. It's one of the particle physics fields. So basically it's from, and this is me just literally going off of Wikipedia here because I don't know that much. Um it's a Mexican shaped hat potential leads to. Okay, so basically the forces of the Higgs field cause it to stay inside of a particular shape. That's at the atomic level. We're talking at the tissue level, which is like 3 or 4 levels up. Um so anyway, let me see if I can get you a nice picture of this, Casper, just so that your brain is flooding with questions. I'm glad that your brain is flooding with questions. This is making me happy, man. I like this. All right, let's see here. Need to get you a good picture for this. Okay. Now, what I'm going to be showing you here, this is just an illustration of what is termed as bootstrap analysis. So, each one of these is technically a different simulation, if you will. The theory behind it is that the common area between all of them, so the overlapping area, is the most likely possibility. And whichever prediction has the largest coverage over that area of most likely, that is termed as the most true. But that's not necessarily accurate. And this is kind of what the problem with certain aspects of bootstrapping is. So what you do with bootstrapping, and this actually gives you an idea. You have a original sample size here, and what bootstrapping does, but even if it is 3 levels up, it is still interacting with it. It gives it a state. It gives it a state to a certain extent once the electron, so Wayne, so moving off of Casper, moving into Wayne. Wayne, so once you get into the electron field theorem, then it is the electron fields that actually are what is causing stabilization of matter at that point. Oh. This is good. I like this. So what happens with this kind of simulation, which is called bootstrapping? Basically what you are doing is you are randomly sampling here and then causing an expansion where basically what you do is you clone certain aspects of it to create new pools of data. And then you run simulations on that. Absolutely. Bone growth. I used to actually do research in bone growth. Give me a second, and I will actually show you the article. Whoops. There we are. I'll actually show you the article that I worked on. Oh yeah, I forgot I worked on that one. Here we are. All right. So this is actually a particular article that I was actually an author on. So we actually did research regarding a couple of bacteria that were internalizing inside of cells. We were actually seeing certain aspects of this. This is an extremely technical article. I don't recommend reading it. I actually took these images right here. Um, could you make an uncontrollable? Could you make uncontrollable chaos at a controlled area with bones? So, say you want a spiky forearm. Is it possible to just keep chaos at your forearm? So here's the problem with chaos. And this goes into chaos theory at the physics level as well. So we're taking a much greater idea and application, and we are cramming it down to a much lower level. Um, we chaos by its definition is uncontrolled. It is unbounded. So chaos in science has many different terms. There is enthalpy and entropy. Entropy is chaos. It is the natural state that everything in science will return to, which is uncontrolled. That is a loaded question, and as much as I would like to say yes, I have to say possible. Possible. Still love this picture. This picture's great. By the way, that is the cell from the side. We created this image. This is actually a rendering from this point on of multiple slices of an actual cell that has been fixed and stained with bacteria to the side. Yes. So the problem with chaos is you can't control it. You might be able to control it in one small spot, but everywhere else it'll be out of bounds. This is why those who have genetic werewolfism have huge problems with hair growth. And there was actually one, I believe there was one, something uncontrollable cannot be controlled till the minuscule level. And that's one of the problems. In the human body, we are not able to control at the minuscule level. So, one of the things that we do, and this is actually the principle of how, wow, really? Seriously? There. This is actually one of the principles of medical treatment, is that we flood the body with way more than the body needs of a particular item. So if you have a headache, you are, in theory, flooding yourself with a large amount of what is termed as an NSAID or a pain reliever. And what actually happens in that regard is that you are knowingly putting way more than your body needs to reduce the inflammation or remove the pain than you absolutely need for that particular instance. So if you've got a headache, that is literally so low. There's actually a pain scale, but that is so low on the pain scale that you almost shouldn't use an NSAID for it. Now, that being said, you should utilize pain relievers as necessary, as you see fit, within reason. Please follow the instructions found on the labels of anything that you utilize, and please consult your doctor for any specific medical knowledge. I have to say that because, in good conscience, I cannot just let you guys go with any particular thing. Whew. Man, you guys like hitting me with weird things. Jeez. Woo-hoo. There's something I never want to actually see. It may sound stupid, but I never want to see uncontrolled chaos in a human body. Believe it or not, the human body exists in a state of controlled chaos, and I know that is an oxymoron, at any one time. There is such a fine line that your body walks, which is called homeostasis. at any one time, that it can be thrown off for any number of reasons, which is why we have medical disorders. That is actually the reason why we have medical disorders. It is a failure of, yeah, it is absolutely terrifying. But the reason why you have a medical issue in your body is because of a lack of something in your body. This was the reason why a lot of MDs in the 1910s through the 1970s, all they were really doing was just handing you a prescription and sending you on your way. Treat the symptoms and it'll eventually sort itself out. Well, that's not really how it works. I work at an osteopathic medical school. Osteopathic medicine is identifying and treating the root cause of the problem, and then you no longer have the symptom. So you treat the symptom, but you're also treating the root cause of the symptom as well. Hot damn. In the span of 40 minutes, we have actually covered a lot that is discussed inside a lot of basic college and graduate level courses, all in a short amount of time. I don't even know if you guys even understood half of the crap that I just said. Man, that was fun. I love talking science. Good. I'm glad to hear that. That actually makes me very happy, Wayne. Thank you. All right, still have some clay, which is good. I can take half of you and put you here, and half of you and put you here. You. Not you. You. Yes, you. Take you and you. Pop. And pop. Pop. Good. Yes. So that question, I wouldn't say that question is unethical, Casper. I would say that attempting to induce chaos inside the human body is unethical. But again, please remember, I am not a licensed doctor. I am not a physician. Pardon me. I am not a physician. I am a scientist. I deal with the theoretical aspect. For any medical advice, you should always seek the advice of a doctor. Is it possible that a person makes a non-harmful but also harmful sickness that destroys the mind but actually saves the body against certain types of sickness? So, this is an interesting idea. This is not an unethical question. So, this actually brings us to an interesting topic. So, a sad topic, to be completely honest. My father, at the time of his passing, we noticed that there was very little to no brain activity when a brain scan was done. Now, my father had a particular type of cancer that caused a rupturing of his appendix, which later caused toxic shock syndrome. The toxic shock syndrome then led to the shutdown of certain organs inside of his body, yada, yada, yada. Long story short, one of the doctors suggested that we lower his body temperature to such a dangerous point that it could cause hypothermia, but what that could potentially do is restart the brain's activity. It is effectively forcing the brain into a low power state that then jumpstarts reactivity of the brain. That is a very dangerous and potentially harmful situation because you are bringing the body so close to hypothermia that it could cause the person to pass on, or become extremely sick. You may actually induce other problems with that, like a car engine, yes, or like a computer, or like a phone. If the phone gets too hot, you cool down the phone. Very simple. No, that's fine. That's fine. But one of the big things that comes of these kinds of questions is that when you are faced with those kinds of situations, ethical and moral decisions, I don't want to say that they go out the window, but it's kind of a, well, his brain is already not working, so we need to try and do something radical or a little dangerous in order to get the result that is necessary to provide the care that is necessary. So in this regard, it can be seen as ethical to induce a potential hypothermic situation. You wouldn't do that on a normal, healthy person for the specific reason that it could kill them. But in doing this, you are actually making it so that the person could potentially survive. I hope that answers the question in a way that you were looking for. Okay, electrical power. Again, I am not an electrician, so I might not be able to answer this properly. Nor am I an electrical scientist. So keep that in mind. Okay, energy. I might be able to answer this. Distance between them, create gravity, like take black holes. Oh. Wayne, you may have actually found the one question that stumps me. Rem, you want to see the question or no?
I'll hear it.
Oof. Ooh. Hmm. So here's the thing about black holes. Black holes are when the gravity of a star folds in on itself and continually folds in until the gravity field is, as I understand it, until the gravity field is effectively broken and then collapses fully within itself, in which case an implosion takes place, which results then in an explosion. Violent in both cases, as I understand it. Part of the reason we actually, as a galaxy, co-opt a black hole to hold us together, as I understand it. So, um, the nature of a black hole is that it's kind of like a gigantic vacuum. It's pulling everything in towards it, so you wouldn't necessarily gain heat from it. Also, space is not necessarily a particular area that does heat. It is the excess energy of the photons from a light source or a soul like situation that ooh, soul like situation. It is the excess energy released as enthalpy that causes the heat. I don't know that much about the Higgs or the Higgs boson theory. So I don't know what it's acting on, to be specific. Casper, your question is it possible to collect the energy from outdoor space, as there is a lot of sound in space? There actually is no sound in space because there is a vacuum in space. For a fact, but we don't hear it as humans. Is it possible to collect the sound energy and revert it into electrical energy? So here's the problem with space. Gravity does not operate inside of a vacuum. You have to be within a particular field of gravity or a particular gravitational field in order for gravity to actually work. So, you'll hear people talk about not only, no, only dark matter is in space. We're in space. I mean, technically, we are in space or matter. So, is it possible to generate energy from sound energy? Yes, in theory. Uh, that would be the, and we still cannot collect dark matter. Correct. So, I mean, you could use, uh, in theory, you could have a piston running through a copper coil that causes a rebound due to sound waves with the reverberation off of a spring. But the thing about a spring is that a spring is controlled potential energy, so eventually the spring will fail, and you will always get diminishing returns on your initial amount of energy that you put in. But I do understand what you're talking about. The sound waves that are coming through deep space that hit us Um, as I understand it, a lot of that is still chalked up to theoretics, not necessarily scientific fact at the moment. Um, this is really good stuff. All honesty, I'm loving this. Uh, as I remember it from physics. Again, Wayne, I don't know anything about the Higgs. I don't know much about the Higgs particle. So you're kind of asking me the wrong questions. I mean, I guess it could be possible, but I don't really know that much about it. We've collected a very, very small sample of dark matter on Earth itself, but we cannot collect it from outdoor space itself. I think you're right. Yes, I can't say for sure, but I do believe that you are right. That's okay, Wayne. That's okay. I wish I had a one of my colleagues from college. She really was interested in physics. I should probably reach out to her in the near future and see if she pursued that. 'Cause she might actually have a better idea. Kind of. From what I understand, the Higgs only affects that which is at its same level or one level up. Like I said, it is the electron field that then takes over from there. So I think it is a strong pull at its particular level, but I do believe that there is a it's kind of an extremes kind of thing. So I think you might be right in that regard. I do have to build a Space Wolves list. So while we're doing this conversation, I am going to switch over to discussing Space Wolves stuff. Or, well, I'm going to switch over to some Warhammer stuff. So keep talking. I like this. Gonna be that much of a pain? Alright, fine. God. Really? Come on, Wayne. Rem, are you still playing Sisters this weekend, or are you doing Blood Angels?
Which one would you rather have me
Well, I mean, I'm going to be going up against, well, I'm going to be building Space Wolves right now,
do?
so,
Oh, you're doing Space Wolves, not Imperial Knights?
yeah, I told you that I was going to do Space Wolves.
Well, I wasn't sure.
Yeah, you said you wanted to do Blood Angels versus Space Wolves, so,
I mean, we can, yeah.
yeah, so it's going to be Blood Angels versus Space Wolves from the look of it. So Rem's going to be doing Space Wolves. Excuse me. Rem is going to be doing Blood Angels. I will be doing Space Wolves. Ugh!
Time for bed.
No, it is not time for bed. It is time for more water. Okay, there we go. Much better. Yep, yeah, that's good. Okay. All right. So, ooh, I might actually have somebody rooting for me this week. Oh,
Yeah.
oh my God. Oh my God. How wonderful of you. Just gotta fix the size of the window, that's all. There it is. There we are. Okay, now you don't need to see my face that much, so we're just going to throw me right here. Now, all right, question about wormholes. Wormholes. Do you think that it is true that space is like a sheet of paper folded up, that a wormhole is a secondary possible way to the other side of the sheet of paper? No, and this is why. Here's the thing about a wormhole. Wormhole, in the case that you're referring to, is more like a black hole. Black holes have such high gravity that you would be crushed on the other side. This was actually something that was discussed by Bill Nye, I believe, as well as Carl Sagan. And and this is something that you will find that I regularly do. Um, I recommend that you actively look out for those kinds of things, because those guys are physicists and they have a much better idea than I do. Going open, don't need attachment. Yes, we're going with Space Wolves. Okay. All right. I don't think I need to use that stratagem. Okay. Let's see. Oh, and Casper, you will be very happy to know that I will be using Terminators during this. Next question, Casper. Hit me with your best shot here, buddy. Sweet. I'm also going to use... Stormcaller. Cool. And I'm also going to bring in Bjorn Fellhand. I don't think so. So what you're kind of describing is an idea that is very similar to dropping a hammer to break surface tension as you're falling towards a body of water. Unless the hammer is hitting just a second right before it, you still get the effect of the surface tension. If it operates similar to that, then no. If it doesn't, then I don't know. So it is entirely possible that potentially, but I don't think so. But still, an extremely good question, Casper. Extremely good. The hell frost cannons do? Oh my. That's like a melt-a-gun. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with the heavy plasma cannon. Nah, I know what you mean. That's kind of how it works for me sometimes too. And I will use Ragnar Blackmane, and he will be the last of the people that I use for HQs. So that's it for HQs. Now, in terms of troops, Gray Hunters. Let's see if Gray Hunters are even worth it. Yeah, that's worth it. There's some Gray Hunters in there. And I'll give him Terminator ability. How did I go from watching freaking Tintin to shooting dense light particles at light particles to stop light particles around your material from moving? Who would know more about the Higgs? Would it physicality? So one of the things that I can recommend to you, Wayne, would be to do a Google Scholar research and see who's recently published on it. Now, what you can then do is you can then, yeah, you would find a physicist, and then email them and say, I have a few questions, and no, you spelled it right. Physicist is right. I have a few questions, and I would just appreciate if you could answer them for me. If they have the time, they will answer the question for you. Believe me, trust me. Scientists, we want our um our research, our topic to be known. We need to know that. We need to have people out there who know what is going on. Yes, you could also ask on science forums. Go with a power sword. Well, you know what? We'll go lightning claw. We'll go lightning claws. Yeah. No, science forums is always a good place. I think ResearchGate does have a place for non-science affiliated individuals to post questions. So I think you might be able to do that. All right, so I don't want just a basic storm bolter. I'm gonna use a I think I'm gonna use a. Oh yeah, probably do that. One too many selections. Oh yeah, there we go. No, the only stupid question is the question that goes unasked. So don't ever be afraid of that. Hmm. Yep, doing that. Okay, so he already has the extra lightning claw. All right, that's fine. Ooh, Thane of Retinue. I am. Well, Rem Wayne says that we need to play War Machine. He hasn't said it in a while.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, you haven't said it in a while. We do have to play War Machine. I know, I know. Power axe, power fist, or power sword? Yeah, we'll do power fist. If you circulate electrical energy and revert all the heat energy and sound energy back to electric energy, would it be possible to circulate that energy forever? No. There is a so this is why perpetual motion does not work. Um you always lose something. Whether it be in friction or in the transference process, you do not get something for nothing. The conversion process takes something out of it. So, um, the energy that is stored, for example, the energy that is stored in coal, you lose a ton of it simply by heating up the vessel that holds the water for steam engines. That excess energy is referred to as enthalpy or entropy, and that actually enthalpy is what you term heat loss. It's the trickster. Oh, okay. So no, only what if I was going to have blood claws, which I'm not. Yeah, you can't keep the energy at the same point forever. So, a rechargeable battery will never take the same amount of energy that it has at the very beginning. There's always going to be less. You can't always put it back. Yeah, that's one of the shame parts of it. It's a shame that that happens, but that's kind of how it works, unfortunately. Yeah, yeah. In this house, we obey the laws of physics. Throws out machines. Absolutely, that is a great line from Homer Simpson. That is a great line from Homer Simpson. So, do these guys have start as chain swords? No, they don't. Ah, they may take them. Okay. So if I do this, then they automatically get start as chain swords. Yes. Yeah, it goes to something else. So this is my favorite physics question. You have two bowls. In this bowl, you have a pound of you have a certain amount of popped popcorn and you have a certain amount in the other bowl of unpopped popcorn. Um which one weighs more? The actuality is that the unpopped popcorn weighs more because you have loss of energy, loss of mass due to the explosive action of the popping process. No, dude, Casper, you're doing a great job, man. These are great questions. You know, this is one of the things that scientists like myself are trying to get people to understand is that you need to work on asking. It's always about asking better questions. It's never about um asking worse questions. You're asking great questions. Never ever ever think that you are not asking good questions. Wolfguard Terminators need to be in this. We need more of that. And we are going to add one with a heavy weapon. And that heavy weapon, ooh, Cyclone missile launcher. You can also have an assault cannon and a heavy flamer. Yeah, we're going with that. What? What do you mean? Get out of here. Shut up. I think I am going to actually have blood claws. And with that, I am going to put Lucas the Trickster in there. Now, the blood claws, they are basically Primaris intercessors, assault intercessors, from the look of it. Good night, Wayne. It's always a pleasure having you guys on stream. Thank you for saying good night to me and Rem. We really do appreciate it. Say good night, Rem.
Hi.
Thanks, Wayne. I appreciate it, man. I'm glad to know that you guys are enjoying the streams. And I guess this is a perfect time to say that if you are new here to the stream, or if you've been here multiple times, please feel free to give us a follow. We really do want you guys to be around and enjoy this time with us. As you can see right now, I am working on Warhammer lists for Sunday stream. Every Sunday, Rem and I, we tend to fight each other in a tabletop simulator version of Warhammer 40k, and that is only because we are testing out different lists. You know what's funny? I'm at a very low level of education degree in my country, even though I'm mentally not meant insulting or harmful, more capable than average Dutchman. Fine. She's supposed to say goodnight, Ram, not just say goodnight. That's how the joke goes. Thank you, Wayne. You're absolutely right. Say goodnight, Gracie. Good night, Gracie. Ah. All right. Oh, that's what a chain fist looks like. That's cool. Hounds of Mordecai and Wolfen. Do I want Murder Fang? I think I might want Murder Fang. I do want some wolves. Wolves are nice. They can move far. I do want some Sky Claws. Possibly some Long Fangs. Say hi, Bob. Hi, Bob. I love it. Oh, the Long Fangs. Okay, so the Long Fangs are basically just Devastator Squad. Okay. All right, so for the Blood Claws, do I want Blood Claws or Grey Hunters? You know what? I think it's better to put the effort into here and just have extra Blood Claws. Pardon me. And I will add a Blood Claw Wolfguard Terminator Pack Leader for that, for the Blood Claws, as well as Lucas the Trickster. And I'm also going to have some Sky Claws, which are basically Vanguard veterans. And of course, I'm going to have a Wolfguard Skyclaw Pack Leader. No, no. Look, Casper, I told you once before, you never have to explain to me anything. You don't have to do anything. I'm never going to judge you guys for any level that you might be at. I am at the level that I am at because I chose to be at that level. If you chose not to be at that level, that is your decision. You do not have to justify anything to me. At all. And I do mean that. Give him a storm shield. Yeah, I know it replaces that. And a power expert. That's fine. It's 3 minus 2. There we are. Thunder hammer. Oh, sorry. Thunder hammer. Okay. One to 8 start at age 4, and this ends at 12. Okay. I have a feeling that this might be similar to the Italian system where you have to know exactly what you are going to do with your life by the time you reach high school, or the equivalent of high school level that we have here. Thunderwolf Cavalry. Is that what I'm thinking of? Yes, that I do want. So I do want some Thunderwolf Cavalry. Worth it. And I'm not going to do anything crazy for them. They're fine with what they've got. Murder Fang is 115. Dreadnought's 120. And then you have 2 to 3 years time that you do a specific study for a specific job. Okay. Again, that's fine. Yeah, all right. I'll take the Wolf and Dreadnought. So I'm very awful at spelling. I'm very awful in the Dutch language. That's not a problem. We're using Great Axe. Do I need the Blizzard Shield? What does the Blizzard Shield do? Just means I have a 4-up invul. Does it still have Duty Eternal? Yeah, it does. So what do I care? Hmm. Bestial Rage. What does that mean? But all focus is layered on the Dutch line. Ah, okay. I see. I think I would rather have the Murder Fang then. Yeah, I understand. That's fine, Casper. That's fine. Don't I don't want you to, feel like you have to live up to something here. I never want you to feel like that. I'm not gonna have a flyer. I may do an impulsor. And if you're not good at Dutch here, you are good. Advanced to low education. I see. I see. Yeah, that makes sense. Take the Iron Hail Heavy Stubber. Cost just missile array. That also means with all subjects at my classes, I'm smarter than my classmates. Yeah, I get you. I understand. Long fangs. The hell is a long fang? Oh, those guys. All right, so what I'm looking for is the wolves, which are in fast attack and not heavy support. I am looking for cyber wolves and Fenrisian wolves. So I want the Fenrisian wolves. The cyber wolf. Yeah, I understand that. Is there something that you can do that would allow you to utilize your other skills and highlight your other skills? No, I can understand why that would be frustrating. It makes complete sense. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go with the Great Wolf Claw. I had a hard time at my last school because of sickness. No, yeah, I remember you telling me that. I'm really sorry about that, man. No one helped me. Oh, I'm sorry, dude. That's not cool. That's not cool. See, that's not right. That is absolutely not right. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with the multi-melta. Ah, Casper, man, I'm so sorry about that. I so when I am very stressed out, and Rem can tell you this, I am very stressed out. My no, that's fine. Don't worry about that, Casper. I'm not gonna judge you, especially because for me, when pull that off. When I get extremely stressed, I start repeating the same syllable over and over again. I call it chewing on a syllable because it just doesn't feel right in my mouth. And I continually just over and over again am just constantly saying it. So I understand, and I want you to know that I empathize with what's going on. And sorry, man, I really am. No one should have to go through that. And I wish that there was an easy way for me to fix it, but unfortunately, I unfortunately can't, and I'm sorry about that. The only thing I can do is add more Terminators to my army. That's all I can do. So I will add another Terminator just for you. Oh, bam. Terminator added. And that is true. That is true. That's very true. Yeah, impulsor, impulsor. Hey, look, you're a good man. You are. Don't let anyone ever tell you otherwise. Yeah, I can understand that entirely. Ah, it's me over. Nice. I'm glad that you had an awesome day. That does make me happy to hear that. Yeah, it's a good point. Oh yeah, we're doing that. Okay. Oh, 3. That's true. That is true. Good noodles, bad noodles. It's true. Today is the present, and it is a gift for that specific reason. That'll work. I'll add another to the Thunderwolf Cavalry. Exactly. Today is a gift, and that is why it is called the present. Do I want to add some wolfen? What's good about the wolfen? Sure. Holy crap. Frost claws. Ooh, yeah. All right, hold on. Take out one of those sky claws and one of those. Pull back on the Fenrisian. Oop. Oh. All right, so they have a minimum of 5. It's the Thunderwolves that I added extra. So pop. Yep. 30. I'll pull back on one Terminator. And I'll give them all Chain Fists. I gave him a power sword. You know, I've learned something from wanting to live up to people's expectations. If you want to do so, people will always begin to accept. Yeah. That is a very good point. That is an absolutely good point. Good for you, man, for thinking that way. Good for you. get some wolfen in here. And I'm going to go with frost claws instead of wolfen claws. Yep. That is better. Yeah, I like that. And I will add another one. Well, actually, you know what? I'll add this. And then I will add another one. Perfect. Yep. Freedom is a mindset, and so is restriction. I think this is a good list. What do you think? I think that this is a decent list and will definitely give Rem a run for her money. So we've got a lot of characters. We've got Bjorn the Fell-Handed. We've got Logan Grimmar on Storm Rider. We've got Najal Stormcaller. We got Ragnar Blackmane. We got a group of 6 Bloodclaws with a Bloodclaw pack leader and a Wolfguard Terminator pack leader. There's a lot of Terminators in this. We've got Lucas the Trickster to hang around the Bloodclaws because his ability is for Bloodclaws hero. So when a friendly Bloodclaws, Skyclaws, or Swiftclaws unit is 6 inches of this model, each time a Bloodclaws, Skyclaws, or Swiftclaws model in that unit makes a melee attack, you can reroll the hit. And then he's got Pelt of the Doppelganger. Each time an attack is made against this unit, an unmodified hit roll of 1 to 3 always fails, irrespective of any abilities that that weapon or model making that attack may have. Perfect. Love it. He's also got a Rebellious Presence. While another friendly Space Wolf unit is within 3 inches of this model, subtract 1 from the leadership characteristic of that model in this unit. So I just keep him away from the other characters, that's all. And he's got the Last Laugh, which in the fight phase, if this model is destroyed by a melee attack by an enemy model, roll off with your opponent. If you win the roll off, that enemy model suffers D6 mortal wounds. That is awesome. Also, look at that melee ability. Look at that. Oh, each time an attack is made with this weapon, you can re-roll the wound roll. There's going to be a lot of this. I'm going to love this. Then we've got the Murder Fang, which is a dreadnought. It's a wolfen type dreadnought. Rem, I'm bringing a lot. But this is my first time with it, so you might actually beat the crap out of me, because I don't know what I'm doing. Then I got a Veteral Dreadnought. I am in the elites. So Lucas the Trickster, Murder Fang, who's a character, and the Venerable Dreadnought, plus Wolfguard Terminators. Don't forget, I also added a Terminator just for you. The Wolfguard Terminators also have heavy weapons, and with that, they've got the Cyclone Missile Launcher and a Chain Fist with the Storm Bolter. Also, we've got a Wolfguard Terminator pack leader, and he's got a Power Sword and Storm Bolter. And then we've got some Wolfen. Now, this is the part that I don't understand. Bestial Rage, and I don't understand what the hell that is supposed to mean. Yeah, there's nothing in here that says anything about it. So after that, we've got our fast attack. So we've got Fenrisian Wolves with one. So we've got 5 Fenrisian Wolves and 1 Cyber Wolf. Each of them has teeth and claws. Yeah, I don't understand Wolfen, but the thing about Wolfen that I like is they automatically have this Stormfrag auto launcher for one of them, and then the rest of them are just melee focused. So they're melee centric. And then of course, let's see. Well, a friendly Space Wolves infantry, Space Wolves biker, Space Wolves cavalry. unit is within 6 inches of this unit, you can reroll charge rolls made of that unit. While a friendly Space Wolves Blood Claws unit is within 12 inches, you can reroll charge rolls made for that unit. Cool! Anyway, fast attack. Well, then we've got Sky Claws, and the beauty of the Sky Claws is they're basically Vanguard veterans. Nope. Yeah, Wolfen I would have to pay the CP to put them in Deep Strike. Anyway, Sky Claws, they have jump packs. Automatically they have jump packs, I might add. I don't have to pay extra for them. They just come with them. I gave them a Wolfguard Sky Leader. And the Wolfguard Sky Leader has the Thunder Hammer. Not to mention, oh yeah, the Wolfen I gave Frost Claws too. I should bring that up. The Wolfen have Frost Claws. So not only does it get to make one additional attack with the weapon, you also get to reroll failed wound rolls for it. So nice. Oh, and they get jump packed assault. This model has a jump pack. When you set it up during employment, it can be set high up in the skies. Oh, even better. Then I've got one unit of Thunderwolf Cavalry, which is basically just two Thunderwolf Cavalry plus a pack leader. And they come automatic with the Stardust Chainsword, Bolt Pistol, and the Crushing Teeth and Claws. And to round it out with dedicated transport, I've got an Impulsor. Oh, cool. I didn't realize that they had Shock Assault. That makes it even better. But yeah, this you might have to actually, just a tip, you don't have to do so, change them with actual Vanguard veterans, as they are a few points more but have more base seat attacks. They are worth it. Let me take a look. Hold on. Let's see. Sky Claws. I see what you're saying. Yeah, because they only have one attack. But you got to remember that they have the Astartes Chainsword on them for the base ones, so they automatically get an additional. I understand what you're saying, that they would get a little bit more, but I'm only using them to move around the field. So what I'm probably going to end up doing is using them to get behind and then crush. This is going to be fun. And you know what? In the end, I may just ditch the Sky Claws entirely, but I want to see how these guys work out. So this is going to be good. I like this. Rem, I'm at 2,003 points. And with that, I think that is going to do it for me tonight. So I want to thank everybody for joining me tonight. I want to thank Wayne. I want to thank Casper. Of course, I want to thank Casper for joining me tonight. I hope you guys had fun. I know I did. I really enjoyed talking about all that science with you guys. It was really fun. If you enjoyed the stream, I hope you will decide to give us a follow. It helps us grow, and it'll also alert you as to when we are going on stream. If you're watching this on YouTube, hello from the past to the future. It's good to see you. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. The links are going to be in the description below and on my Twitch homepage. Good night, Casper. Take care. Rem, Casper says good night.
Good night.
She says good night. So long, and thanks for all the fish.